You know, I'm actually shocked by how the mainstream media is handling Hurricane Sandy. Not really shocked by the media. I mean, it's to be expected. We, of course, know that we're being lied to on a regular basis. We know that most of what we're fed from the boob tube is bullshit. I mean, come on, it's all a bunch of lies. Put a couple cameras up and stage it and set it up like a Hollywood production, and there's your news story. But what I'm shocked about, and it's not that I'm shocked that the mainstream media would lie to us, I'm shocked that the American people are still so gullible that they would actually believe the pitch that Hurricane Sandy is helping President Barack Obama in his campaign for re-election. You know, I was just interviewed by a Canadian newspaper. If it airs tomorrow, I'll make sure to point you guys to the link. And they were asking me that question. They were saying, hey, Christopher, you know, how is this storm impacting President Obama? Is it helping him? Well, I would actually say quite the contrary. I think it galvanizes the Republicans. It galvanizes Mitt Romney. Not that that's going to do anything. Not that that's going to change anything one lick. You know, Americans might think that they have a vote. They might think that they're doing something positive on voting day. You know, I just can't help but think, what's next for America after this? And I honestly keep going back to what I've mentioned in prior videos. Honestly, if President Barack Obama is reelected for a second term, that is an indication that America is finished. If the Republicans, and I'm not for the Republicans, I'm not endorsing Mitt Romney or the Republicans in any way, but if the Republicans can't win this election with all that's happened over the past 4 years, then there really, honestly, is no hope in the current system that we have today. Now, I think that's already the case, and actually, maybe it'd be a good thing. In fact, maybe we should even root for President Barack Obama to be president for a second term. Because it'll only galvanize the movement more. It'll only put the thought of revolution, that 1776 mentality, more into the minds of the people than maybe there was before. You know, I talked to a lot of people that said they voted for President Obama 4 years ago. They were so enticed by his charisma, so enticed by his hope and change speeches. You know, he was a revolutionary in their eyes. He was going to change things for the better. You know, he was going to fix things. He was going to take us away from the oppression and the wars of the George W. Bush era. But what do we get? And even those people, a lot of them at least, a lot of them that I talked to that even voted for President Barack in 2008, which I think you were insane to do so if you did in fact do so, even those people were telling me, Christopher, you know, wow, we were lied to. Couldn't have been any further from the truth. Change, hope. You know how many emails I get? I just read one from a gal who said she's in so much credit card debt and so much student loan debt trying to get an education that she can't even breathe. And then she feels horrible and she feels depressed because her parents are now having to help her out. And she wants to know, she wants to ask me, Christopher, should I file for bankruptcy? Should I go bankrupt? Should I do that? What should I do? I can't pay this debt. It just keeps growing. You know what? You're no different than the federal government. But the difference is the federal government has designed the system to bankrupt you, to put you in debt, to make you needy, to make you need the big government. They want you to view the government as your savior, and they want to keep you in a negative feedback loop of debt into infinity so you can't afford to think. You can't afford to do anything else. You can't take action. You can't even start a business or try something new or try to help meaningful change when you're too busy trying to meet a massive debt load month to month or just get by paycheck to paycheck. And you see, that's what we're dealing with here in America today. So, you know, my answer to that question, I'm going to have to say, I don't know. I don't know what's right for you. You know, I personally would try to avoid bankruptcy at all costs. I would try to pay back that debt, get it finished, get it extinguished, and move on and never get in debt again. You know, I would finish that situation and I would move on. That's probably the best thing to do. You know, and you look at the Hurricane Sandy victims, many of which feel Obama just wasn't there. Didn't act, not enough water, not enough food, people being harassed by the authorities. I think one guy even got arrested for buying too much gas. He was hoarding, according to the mainstream media and to the federal government. Hoarding. We are a threat to the system. We are a threat to the United States government. It is really sad. There are times, honestly, I don't want to go into too many details today, but there are times when I honestly think about things and I just think about, you know what, is it even worth staying here in the USA? Is it even worth it? Sometimes I just want to take the next flight out of here. Because everything I talk about, everything that we've been telling you over the past 3 years, everything that I passionately deliver to you on a regular basis has come true. Not everything. I haven't predicted, the future. I don't have a crystal ball, anything like that. But the police state, it's here. And it's really sad. And the people of America are being attacked, and we're allowing it to happen. I've read a little bit about Gandhi. I've studied him. I studied his movement. And, reading in his memoirs, Gandhi, he was amazed. And he was also sickened to his stomach. The fact that his people were so unwilling to fight back against an outside force, against something that was enslaving his people. He couldn't believe it. He was sickened by it. And sometimes I feel the same way. I'm sickened by the corrupt nature of this system, sickened by the corrupt nature of the mainstream media, and more sickened by the fact that people honestly put up with it. The people are so busy, they're so in that negative feedback loop that they just don't have time to think, yet alone breathe. Well, now is a really good opportunity to do that because, for a lot of people, a lot of Americans, and you should be thinking about this when you're going to the voting booths and thinking you're actually going to change things. A lot of people in America are suffering today. We see all these commercials about, kids in Africa starving, kids in Asia starving, can't get a meal. We don't need to worry about those other countries anymore. It's a little bit of that mentality and the political correctness and never solving our problems here at home is why we're here in the first place. There's families in China right now that are probably serving Brussels sprouts or the Chinese equivalent to their 5 or 8-year-old right now says, hey, Mom, I don't want to eat that. And they're saying, well, you better eat that, son. You better eat that because there's children in the United States of America starving. What is this, Somalia? It really is sad. And it's time for a change. So, honestly, no matter what happens tomorrow, a historic election, but no matter who wins, no matter who it goes to or who gets to, crown himself. We saw the coronation at the RNC for Mitt Romney. It wasn't even a convention. It was just a coronation for Mitt Romney. Did Ron Paul have a voice? Did he have an opportunity? No. Didn't even have an opportunity. They weren't even gracious enough to let the guy speak. That's where we are in America today. And honestly, we need to look inside ourselves. We need to look inside our hearts. We need to understand what's happening to us, but more importantly, we need to change what's happening to us. And it starts with just taking simple steps. It starts with honestly just changing your day-to-day habits and how you live your life. Honestly, you want to make a change? You can do it right now after watching this video. Next person you see, I want you to smile at them. I want you to give them a smile. I want you to surprise them. I want you to make somebody feel good. It's funny, you do that in society today, especially if you stare at somebody in the elevator, they think you're crazy. It's like, oh my God, why is this guy smiling at me? Or you see someone on the street, why are they smiling at me? He must be crazy. He must be a psychopath. Everyone's playing on their iPads and iPhones, etc. It's a handheld world. It's a social media world. Hey, look at how I'm delivering this message to you. I'm Christopher Green. You've been watching Green Wave TV, alternative media television, and I just delivered the Daily Wave. Hard-hitting and in your face, America.